Hi, you guys. I'm back. Even though we did miss a little bit last week, it was hiatus and it was kind of crazy, and my schedule got kind of crazy, but whatever. But we're here this week. That's important. Uh, the second half of the season is really about to kick in and get underway. I'm excited. Yay! Michael's coming back this week. Um, that's going to be a really big thing. I'm pretty interested to see him and Freya's storyline. I think this is really going to kind of put it under for me. Like,
Hi, you
I'm really
guys.
ready to
I'm
see
back.
whether or
Even though
not
we did miss a little bit last week, it was
really ready to see whether or not they're going to go anywhere with that. Like, how far they're really going to try to go and dive deep into it. So let's see. Let me make sure that the other video isn't going to autoplay. All right, so which storylines are you guys ready for and interested to see? Mine, of course, is Freya. That's always kind of been mine as of right now. The other part of the storyline I would probably be interested in seeing would more or less probably be the whole storyline with whether or not Klaus is going to pull a Pinky in the brain and kind of take over everything, which it's been coming. I don't know why Haley has not really figured that out, which goes to show me I'm kind of disappointed, but it also goes to show me that I feel like maybe these two characters somewhat know, or they kind of know what the other one will allow them to know, because I could read it since the whole betrothed thing with her and Jackson anyway, and with the whole, Haley queendom and all of that stuff, like him saying, yeah, she's a queen, this, that, or the other. I could kind of see then that he was more or less like prepping her up, but also manipulating her a little bit to kind of go along with this plan, because he feels as though, hey, if these wolves trust you, I'm going to be the man behind the scenes. And that's how it's going to work. Like, almost like, did you guys catch it at the wedding? Like, that wedding was so important. Like, after the whole little festivities and he came out holding baby Hope, it's like he let everybody know Haley and Jackson are pretty much just the pretty alpha male and female that you want, but really Klaus Mikaelson is running the show and you guys are about to protect my daughter, and that's how it's gonna be. So I thought that was kind of real godfatherish and gangsta how he did that last 2 weeks ago. So I kind of really like that. Yes, James noted that he's really excited to see Michael's reaction to Freya, which I am too, because I think it's going to open up another door of a lot of possibilities um, for the show to go, because Michael's going to have kind of his own story too. Like, we've never seen it from Michael's point of view, as far as like him coming back, realizing that one of his children died while he was away, which probably has to be horrible for any father to hear. And then kind of seeing his downward spiral into why he became the man that we see now, because we've kind of gotten Esther's backstory. Like, we kind of know with her guilt and, with her basically not wanting to lose any more children, and just getting to the point where she's like, okay, I already lost Freya, now I'm losing Hendrik, I can't deal with this, I need to do something to make my children immortal. So we kind of see her point of view from it, but it would be quite interesting to see Michael's. I think his will be a little bit different. I think it'd give us another dimension to that character that I would love to see. So I'm really looking forward to how he's going to react towards Freya as well, and what her story is going to be, like what she's actually going to tell her father took place. Like, is she going to basically paint Esther as just plain evil, or is she going to kind of sympathize with her? Oh, mother just did what we thought was best, kind of BS. So, and let me see, James said, yeah, he's definitely going to use Aiden, because he sees Aiden as being the next in line. Like, it was kind of almost like when Ollie was there. Like, Jackson and Ollie had all this of this tension, and that was mostly due to the fact that Ollie was definitely going to try to take over the alpha, male dominant role. He was definitely going to try to do that. So I think Klaus kind of sees the same thing with Aiden, so he's going to start pushing for that. Oh yeah, Klaus is being very diabolical this last second half of the season. He's really taking it back to kind of older Klaus, like what we're more used to seeing in TVD. Yeah, he'll be very, very interesting to see. So I think he's really taking it back, like I said before, about the TVD Klaus. He's always trying to be one step ahead. And that's one of my biggest things that I'm enjoying about the show right now. I'm kind of glad they've calmed down on all the romance. The originals for me really isn't a romance or kind of like a romantic story. Like I see the different ships that are forming, but I haven't really taken to one. I'm more or less involved in the storyline. So I like it a lot better when they kind of leave that out and go straight for the jugular of, what's the whole point of this baby? Is she going to live? If she's not, basically, what's his whole story? What's going to happen? So I think Klaus is definitely preparing for that as well. I think he's kind of he's kind of stepped back and he's kind of loading up the chess pieces on the chessboard, seeing who's going to make a move, who's not. So yes, he's definitely going to have Aiden in his corner. He's also going to manipulate and push Elijah's buttons as well. As you guys know, there have been spoilers that Klaus and Elijah are going to butt heads again this season. I kind of don't like that. They did that last season with Haley when it came concerning her, and I kind of don't like it by the end of the season when the brothers are on different pages, because I feel like this whole family works so well when they're all together. Even if they're not all together for the same reasons, they still work really well as one unit. And I kind of hate that because I feel like they may not be there for Klaus when Klaus really needs him. Like, I feel like they're kind of pushing him back on the outside, which is something that Klaus has always felt and dealt with. So it will be kind of interesting to see them kind of bring back in that insecure Klaus with his family, because it's coming to that point. I mean, him and Haley were at an understanding. They're not now. They're kind of at different angles. They pretty much just come together to discuss what they're really going to do with Hope or her well-being. And then after that, if he tells Haley to do something, she says no. They argue, whatever. And then it's okay, we got to do what we got to do for our child, and that's it. So it's kind of feel like he doesn't have that connection that maybe he had with a lot of the characters a lot at the beginning of the season, including Cammy. Like, him and Cammy have kind of just, they don't really have any more scenes anymore. They're kind of just hanging out in the wind. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see how they really pull that off this season. So is anybody else excited about anything? What do you guys think of? I know it was a lot of stuff going around last week about the E-Online poll, and then also some of the other polls going around, how it was chosen. I just want to commend everybody that voted. Anytime you get interactive and you vote for what you want, that's your fandom speaking for what they want and what they represent. I don't see anything wrong with it. I also don't see anything wrong with if two people aren't currently together on the show. Different fandoms like Bayman and Caroline and Stelena still fighting for what they want. That's what you're supposed to do as a fandom. You're supposed to band together and, not necessarily fight, meaning, get nasty with the writers. But when it comes time for public recognition, especially in any type of poll, you want to make sure your couple is there. So I don't see anything wrong with it. And I think everybody just needs to realize, these are TV shows. The couples are going to change. The writers really don't have an end game. They tell you guys that they have an end game, but they really don't. They're just telling a story, and that story could change. Coming from a writer, I know that. It's things I've started out in the story, and then I change it totally, just gauged on reaction and what happens. So I just want to commend everybody that voted, and the new poll is also up today. I think basically it's going to be Stelena versus Caroline, which is going to be pretty interesting. I think that might be foreshadowing what's to come in season 7, because I know a lot of you guys think that Stefan and Elena are over, but this story started with Stefan and Elena, so I feel like they have a little bit of unfinished business as well. So I don't think that ship is totally out the water as of yet. And also I want to congratulate the original ships. Kalele was nominated within the top 16. Cole and Davina was as well, which I love them also. So I want to commend everybody for doing that, and the Claire Liners for getting a billboard. That was awesome. So it's going to be a great week. We all have things to look forward to in different divisions of whether we like who and who together or whether we don't. So as long as we just remember that, I think it will be great. Let me see. James said, yes, they do need to bond more, Klaus and Elijah. That's kind of the thing I'm kind of missing from both shows. The earlier seasons of TBD and the other earlier seasons of, hi, somebody else just joined us. Awesome. The earlier seasons of TBD and on both levels with Elijah and Klaus, and also with Damon and Stefan, always went back to the brotherly bond. They always came down to the root. Like I remember when the crew had desiccated Klaus, and Elijah comes to Elena's house bargaining for his brother's body. And the first thing Elena asked him is, you know, why are you coming here to, you know, basically ask for his body back? Your brother has done like so many harmful things to you. And he just makes it very plain and simple. He goes, because he's family and he's my brother. And I thought that was perfect because Damon and Stefan would come down to that often, so many times. So I really want both shows to kind of get back to that brotherly bond. I think it really blends them together and kind of puts them on the same boat. So I really want both shows to kind of end on that note. That's what I'm hoping for. I will be happy if both the brothers just run off with each other. If at the end I'm seeing Klaus and Elijah, you know, with their arms around each other, like, brother, we defeated this first row, you know, we're definitely going to take on anything else. And the same for Stefan and Damon. So I would love that. Let me see. Passionate said, I'm so over Selena. Can't two characters grow apart? Yes, two characters can grow apart. I think that they did grow apart in some sense. But I also think that Elena is finally coming down off of her trip. We have to understand Elena is kind of at the same stage that Caroline is right now. So Elena has basically was turned, and especially it was more extreme for her because she was turned a vampire, and then she had to learn how to control it, and then she lost her brother. So it's kind of all these emotions kind of hit her all at once, and then she turns off her humanity for like almost half of a season, then kind of flips it back on. Then she has all her memories erased from Damon. So I think we're really starting to slowly but surely open back up to Elena season 1, early season 2. And that Elena always had Stefan there for her. So I don't know if it's going to be romantic, but I do know that these two characters are going to start hoovering around each other again. Because if you read the books, that's the basis of the story. Is Stefan and Elena. You know, without him meeting her, without her meeting him, none of this ever would have came to flourish. So they're always the underlying base. So I think they can recontinue that relationship. Again, it doesn't have to be romantic, but just them having some sort of dialogue would be great. So I think that's definitely hard to come. Stefan and Elena were great. But it was really cool to see a natural progression and end of a relationship. Yes, it was. But you guys also have to remember, it really didn't fully, if you remember in TBD, it really didn't fully end. She more or less just was truthful, and it kind of broke his heart. And he just kind of, it was to the point where he was like, if you're going to be happy with my brother, be happy with my brother. You've already broke my heart. I'm pissed off enough. I'll just have to get over it myself. It kind of went like that. Because if you remember, it was the scene where Rebecca had came back at the school and took all of them hostage, and she compelled Elena to kind of tell her truth, tell her honest feelings about Stefan. And she did. And it goes back again to where I said with all of these characters, it's a progression and characters do grow apart, but at the same time, each character is there for what they need. Elena definitely didn't need Stefan first turning into a vampire. She did need Damon. She needed that kind of gusto person that was like, this is how you survive. I'm going to let you have a little bit of fun. I'm not going to, be as tight, around you. She needed that relationship at the time to grow. Same thing I feel with Caroline and Matt. Then at one point she outgrew Matt. She ended up with Tyler. Tyler was perfect for what she needed at that time. Then came along Klaus. Klaus was perfect for what she needed at that time. And Stefan is perfect for what Caroline needs at that time. At this time, she needs somebody safe. Their relationship is very safe. But at the end of the day, when the dust settles, is that the best relationship with her? I honestly don't think it is. I think it's more or less Caroline settling, which was something that Caroline had decided to do since season 1. So I don't necessarily see what's going to be in game, because I see different ways that the characters can grow and be with each other. So it's kind of hard. Same thing with the originals. A lot of people had issues with, Klaus and Cammie's relationship. I have issues with it now because I think it's kind of distorted. But at the same time, at the time that Klaus really needed somebody to be there for him, like Caroline was, or started being there for him in TBD, I was okay with Cammie being that, because I said that's a type of person that he needs in his life right now. Just like in his life right now, he doesn't need a relationship. He needs to repair the relationship with his siblings. He needs to make sure his daughter's safe. So he's trying to get like a better open communication relationship, with Haley. And that's all in the hopes of that they can co-parent their daughter. So right now, that relationship is what he really needs right now. So it's kind of like life, people come along. We need them at that time. Once we're out of the situation, we may not need them. It's life. So I kind of like that toss up about it. Yes, Meg Foster is going to guest star, and I'm so excited about that. And I love her because she already has kind of like a creepy look to her anyway, because her eyes are so gorgeous. So I kind of love the fact that they're going to use her tonight for the tea reading, so we can find out what's going on with Rebecca's body. And if Rebecca will have to stay in that body or even body jump into another one. Honestly, guys, I'm thinking she's going to have to give that body up at some point. I don't know if that means that Claire Holt will return or if we'll get another actress portraying Rebecca, but it's some stuff going on with that body. And I think it was a way of Cole to kind of get back at Rebecca, but of course Cole was dead, so he can't really make amends with his sister and say, oops, I jacked up, I'm sorry. So I think that will be interesting to see that kind of played out. Like if she will be able to stay with that body or if she won't. It's going to be pretty interesting. And then the next question is, do I think she will help Rebecca or will she want something in return? Everybody wants something in return in this show. Everyone. It's always an end game for everybody. So I do think she may want something in return. I don't think it will be anything that will be so hard or anything that will kind of impact the storyline greatly, but I think it will be something that will affect Rebecca. I don't know if it's going to concern this body. We never know what might concern Freya. Freya's coming back into this with a very powerful witch powers, very strong. So it might be something, hey, I fix you. You might, with your sister over here, and that's going to put Rebecca in a bind because she's all about the sisterly bond now. So I can definitely see that kind of spiraling out from there. Okay, the next passenger said, I need Clareline. Everybody knows I am pro Clareline. It doesn't flood my judgment with other ships because I can see how each ship is beneficial. But to tell you the truth, yes. Yeah, I read a very good meta on what allured a person to KC. And I've thought about adding it to the site so more people can read it because it just hit the nail on the head with me. It pretty much spoke about them being two sides of the same coin. And I really thought about it, and I said they kind of are. Like Caroline kind of grew up the same way. She kind of grew up, you know, kind of like, you know, always on the outside trying to fit in. Her parents went through a divorce. She was kind of left as a loner as well. She was always the more independent one, controlling independent one behind Bonnie. So she kind of had that retrospect too. And I think her and Klaus both like brought another dimension. It's like they didn't change each other's characters. They kind of revealed each other's characters. Like I think when Klaus and Caroline interacted, we saw the real Caroline. When he interacted with her, we saw the real Klaus. It was kind of like, okay, we see this charade you guys play around your little buddies and stuff, but it's something else there. So that was the allure to that relationship. And you know, it's something that I strongly believe in and that I, you know, that I kind of like. If the writers will go that way, I don't know. I will be excited to see if they don't or if they will. Because again, you guys, you know, you think about all these ships, but they could change like drastically on the drop of a head. So, and someone else said, I am for Camille. I liked Klaus and Camille together. The only thing I don't like that they're doing with that relationship right now is that's the only thing they're tying her to. I think if they kind of, which they started that with her and Elijah and Hope staying at the cabin, kind of drawing her more into the storyline and more into the fold, which I think is great. I don't think she should just focus on her relationships with Klaus. I think she will be a more suitable and more, you know, rounded person later on for him if they do decide to go that way, if she interacts with his family a little bit more. So I think that's great. But I don't know if the writers are kind of backing off on that. I don't know if they're moving forward. Right now, they just kind of have that relationship on hold, so it's kind of hard to see. So it's kind of hard to see. Another passenger said that they love Kaleli. I like Klaus and Haley. You guys, honestly, okay, I don't reveal this to too many people, but this is honestly how I thought Haley was going to be tied to the originals. I thought before the baby that Haley was going to be tied to Klaus as Klaus's sister from his werewolf bloodline. I thought that storyline would be so awesome because we knew that Klaus had a very strong relationship with Rebecca. And I said, ooh, this is going to be a new dynamic. This is going to open up both these characters to somebody else because now he'll have somebody else to care for as well. That was always my theory between him and Haley. It was never him and Haley getting together, having a one-night stand and having the baby. It was never that. So that took me by surprise. Now, since we are at that point in their relationship, do I think that they would be good together? I don't. Because Haley and Klaus have some of the same two issues. They do not trust people, and they're still going to do whatever the damn they want to do. Two people like that really can't coexist. Like, even tonight, she's probably still going to tell her, he's probably still going to threaten her and say he'll start killing the wolves if she doesn't let them do whatever. But we all know Haley. Haley will be like, try it, and we'll see. So that's why I was like, you know, they kind of butt heads right there. So that's why I think that they're good for each other, but I don't know if they would be great for each other as a like real relationship, getting involved with it and dating or, you know, whatnot. I don't know. But then again, they haven't really gone back there yet. So it's kind of hard to tell. Let's see. We have some more questions too. I'm so ready for Dahlia to come. I'm so ready for this interest of this character. I'm ready to see how she's going to come into the fold. I think it's going to be awesome. She's going to be awesome, guys. I'm ready to meet her as well, James. Definitely ready. Let's see. We had another person say they'd rather see Klaus with Camille. The only issue I have with that relationship is I really don't know in the end if Camille would want to be turned into a vampire. And if they keep it true to the Klaus that we all know, eventually he would want to change her. That will come up in their relationship. I don't know if Camille is quite ready to take that step yet. Just because we haven't really seen her inner workings yet. I feel like if they kind of give her her own plot and we kind of see really truly how she feels about these people, then we can kind of see whether or not, if they did go that route, if she would take Klaus up on his offer and, you know, agree to be termed. So that will be interesting. Let me see. So we still have, yeah, the back and forth in here as well. I intend to be your last, however long it takes. Yes, a lot of people go back to that, and I tell people that too. I never heard that line and thought that Caroline was going to be in Klaus's arms the next day. I took that line as him saying, hey, go out, explore the world, grow, see things, live. But later on down the line, it's truly going to be me and you. So that's always, you know, that got top line ever. So that's always one of my favorite lines as well. I like Elijah and Haley together. I think they ground each other. I think Elijah is the more logical person. I think he's very good at kind of calming Haley down and making her see the bigger picture when it comes to her being a hybrid and her also being new to the Michelson fold. So I like that relationship as well. What about Jalali? Jaylee is the only ship because she did break Elijah's heart, but Jaylee, yes, I have to say, you guys, I'm kind of liking Jaylee, and this is the reason why. Let me tell you the reason why. I like Jaylee because that whole day before they got married, out of the whole wedding ceremony, she had been given Rebecca's dress. She was having the ceremony in Klaus's house, the Michelson's house. Everyone was giving her Michelson dibs, trying to pull her into the fold. You're a Michelson now. You're a Michelson now. Kind of like they were kind of like, you know, brush it under the rug about her history. Jackson was the only one that actually gave her something that would mean anything. And it was a tie to her original parents. And I thought that was so strong. And I thought that made a really good lasting mark with him, because it was kind of like him saying, hey, you know, you are a part of this family, but don't forget your family. Because your daughter is a Michelson, you will always be associated with the Michelsons, but you will still deeply always be a Lebanese. And your parents left a legacy for you to continue. And I really kind of like when he took that stand and did that. And I think that's when Haley kind of clicked that this person can offer her more as well. I think that's why we saw kind of the change at the end of the episode with her saying, you know, I just didn't do this for my pack. I did it because you do see something different in me. And I thought that was awesome. Clavina did break my heart. But I am still hoping that maybe they can bring Klaus back, because he did die on New Orleans soil. So I'm hoping that maybe they can resurrect him as a New Orleans witch at some point. And Clavina broke my heart as well. It did. It was really sad. I do see Davina kind of going off the deep end and kind of doing anything to kind of bring Cole back. He was the first person that really kind of opened her up. We saw her character grow a lot during her relationship with Cole, and I think she's going to be looking for that. I just don't know if her angle is going to be Klaus. I don't know if she's still going to try to go through with the plan and get rid of Klaus. I don't know how she's going to feel about it now. So it would be interesting to see if she's kind of in the episode tonight, kind of how she's dealing with the whole thing of losing Cole and what to do, meaning, you know, how to continue it. So we got some great things to look forward to tonight. We have the return of Michael. So we've got Michael and Freya. We've also got Klaus, Haley, and Jackson trying to figure out who's going to run what. Because you guys know Klaus is trying to come in and run things. That's what he does. So that's going to be a good dynamic as well. And then we have Rebecca to see if we can try to fix her. So it's a lot of exciting things that we have coming up in tonight's episode. Another question before we wrap up is, what do you think about Freya? I don't know. I think I will kind of really truly have a conclusion about Freya tonight after we see her interactions with Michael. I want to know whether or not she'll side with Michael, whether or not she feels the same way about her brothers and sisters as Michael does, that now they're all abominations and need to die. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how she feels about everything that has taken place, especially since she's been an observer. You know, she shared that little piece of information with Rebecca that she's checked on them periodically throughout the centuries. So it will kind of be interesting to see like what her take is really going to be and how she's really going to feel about her siblings, because she really doesn't know them like she knows Finn. So it's going to be interesting. Let me see. We have another one. This is the second person that she's loved and died, going back to Davina. And of course, yes, it's going to bring her down to the edge. She's going to really, I think it's really going to grow her up. She grew up a little bit after season 1, but I think this is really going to propel her into adulthood, going through this loss that she's lost with Cole. So I think that's going to be really interesting. And I'm wondering whether or not it'll bring back her friendship with Cammy, because they kind of split those two up as well. So it will be good if her and Cammy kind of, you know, rely on each other during this time, because I think she's going to need it. At least that, or Marcel. She's going to need somebody that she trusts. Let me see. And then someone else said, our Klaus reigning pain in New Orleans, love him always. Exactly. And that's why I try to tell people, you know, I know people were looking at it like, yeah, he let her marry him, but no. Klaus has a plan. That's one of my favorite lines ever from that character when he told Damon, I'm always 2 steps ahead of you guys, always. And I think that's what he's doing now. I always tell people, whenever Klaus steps back and just kind of observes and lets people kind of do, okay, if you want to go do that, think this is best, okay. Then that means I know he's always coming with something. He's planning something. So it's going to be good to kind of see it fall into place tonight, because I'm sure we're going to pick right up and he's going to be all gung-ho about saving baby Hope. What about Gia? I like Gia. I wish they would show her a lot more. I think she can kind of take Tahiri's place as far as Marcel's right-hand woman. I think she's very strong, and I would love to see more about her character. I think her and Marcel have a really good understanding, and I think in communication, I think they can really do some things with the vampires in New Orleans, and they kind of need it. Everybody's kind of broke up after this whole war from season 1. So yes, Davina, Cammy, and Josh will be great back together. They've kind of lured my country accent, but they kind of lured that out and kind of pushed it out. Like they gave us a little bit, kind of got us hooked, and then they took it away. I hate when they do that on shows, but yes. They're doing the same thing with Damon and Alaric on TVD, and I love them together. I need my Deloric back. It was awesome. So I kind of wish they go back to that as well. Yes, when those 3 hang out, it is nice. Do I think Elijah, do I like Elijah being Gia's mentor? I do. And I think that's great, because I think Elijah really has a sense of loss. I think a lot of people in Elijah's life, he wished that he would have been able to be there for them a little bit more and kind of guide them and teach them. And I think that's great for him. I thought they had a great dynamic, and I kind of hated to see that kind of go too. You know, Vampire Boot Camp, I enjoyed that. So I think a lot. I mean, who wouldn't want an original teaching you how to be a vampire? Of course. You know, they're the top of the food chain. So we do have to wrap up. Just to make sure we do a couple of announcements. Make sure that you sign in and create an account at Instigator. It's very easy to do. You can always get prizes and reward points for great things like conventions, cons, all that stuff. So make sure you go in and let them know your theories and what you think, because if you're right, then there's always a special prize or reward at the end. Also, there's going to be a couple of things this week. I think more ships are going to be on the E-Online. Also, there's another poll going on as well. As far as anything else, I can't remember anything that's big. So I think they are planning a trend for the originals tonight. I don't know if it's tonight or if it was earlier today. It might have been earlier today, but they still might be trying to do something 2 hours close to it, because they do start. So don't forget that. But yes, if you want to continue the conversation, you can check me out at the Originals AAF on Twitter. I'm always there. You know, if I don't answer you automatically back, eventually I will. I love to talk theory and just love to chat. So definitely tune in and follow me. Give me a follow. And if not, I will definitely see you guys back here next week. Thank you for joining us. And I really enjoyed it, which I always enjoy chatting. Who doesn't? I mean, I love the originals and the Vampire Diaries. But again, thank you for tuning in tonight, and I'll see you guys next week.